Is the media trying to get us to distrust them? They're doing a good job. Welcome to the Jason Rantz Show, presented by None Better Tax Resolution. I have a pretty simple question. Where's the media been this election cycle? Now, obviously, they've covered local and national races, but they're not really doing the job they're supposed to do. Media is supposed to report facts and let you make up your minds. But the media is also supposed to hold powerful people accountable, call out hypocrisy in good faith, do so as evenly as possible. Now, Washington State is under one-party rule, and yet you rarely see Democrats being held accountable for what they do or don't do. Democrats are still calling out big money and the evil, wealthy folks for buying elections. But if you tune into any local TV network, all you see are attack ads against the four initiatives on the ballot. And at the bottom of those videos, you see the people who are the big donors, the folks who are paying for this. You'll see Steve Ballmer, J.B. Pritzker, or you'll see a bunch of PACs that take money from a bunch of the wealthy liberal donors that I thought we were supposed to hate. Now, normally a media might want to call that out, point out the hypocrisy. Yet they've been silent. You've got Bob Ferguson running endless attack ads, and rather than put him in the hot seat, you question where Dave Reichert stands, a man who isn't in office and comes from a party with no power, and yet somehow he's your target? Nationally, you have media outlets actually discussing Donald Trump as a Nazi or a fascist. The leading candidate for president holds a rally at Madison Square Garden, and on MSNBC and almost everywhere else, this is the way it gets discussed.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally, a rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners.
You have anti-Semitic progressive college students calling for the destruction of Israel. You've got squad members who are sympathetic to Hamas. Where in the world do you get off calling Trump a Nazi? If you want to see what a Nazi looks like in 2024, visit Columbia University or UCLA or UW. I'm sure there's an anti-Israel encampment that you can join. Now, the media isn't covering these issues or campaigns equitably for two reasons. First, locally, reporters don't like going after the party in power because then they might lose access to them. And two, locally and nationally, newsrooms are full of liberals. The only other professions so disproportionately liberal are college professors and DNC staffers. And their coverage, whether it's what they cover, how they frame what they cover, or what they choose not to cover, makes it abundantly clear where they stand politically. Jeff Bezos this week angered some Washington Post staffers when he decided not to run an endorsement this year or for as long as he's the owner. In an editorial, he said that they don't make a difference in how people vote, but they do a really good job at further showing a newspaper's bias, real or perceived. He's right. The staffers are upset that they couldn't publish a self-righteous piece about how Donald Trump is a fascist. That they're upset about that tells you their bias. Bezos took a good first step in the course correction for the Washington Post, and I think others should do the same. But it's only a first step. Hiring another Jennifer Rubin's not going to cut it. Having local news teams talk to a conservative voice every so often doesn't actually make them any less biased. Unless journalists accept the fact that their political position is not important and their jobs aren't to influence the readers, viewers, or listeners, nothing will change, except their number of consumers. That number will continue to dwindle. I sat down with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. Tell me a little bit about the Fresh Start program, because again, based on how it's promoted, it seems really, really simple.
This Fresh Start program and that phrase has been around for many, many, many years now. But it's a great marketing tool to say, hey, fresh start. And in a way, for those that qualify, it is. What it essentially is an offer in compromise. And to get that, there's two main criteria a person must qualify for. One, they must have limited or no equity in assets. So generally, anyone in the Puget Sound region that owns a home and has for several years, they're going to have a lot of equity. They won't qualify. And the other is an income level. And that all depends upon your family size about how much income that could be. But both of those standards need to be met to qualify. Most people do not.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, then call Greg Nunn. of none better tax resolution, from stress to success with IRS solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN, None Better Tax Resolution. If you like that commentary, make sure you subscribe to the podcast of The Jason Rantz Show. Get it at KTTH.com or wherever it is you download your podcasts.